Welcome to the SMB Community Podcast, produced by the Small Biz Thoughts technology community, with your hosts, Amy Babinchak, James Kernan, and Carl Polachuk. We are dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional.
Mobius Connect by Gazinta, the easiest way for ConnectWise Manage and QuickBooks Online to connect. Keep invoices, expenses, and inventory automatically updated right from Manage to QuickBooks Online, and payments right back into Manage. With simple pricing, set it and forget it autosync, Mobius Connect delivers with no restrictions on the number of invoices, expenses, and payments, and plays well with others like Connect Booster. Trusted by over 1,000 MSPs and with personalized onboarding. Go to mobius-connect.com to try it and tell them Dave sent you.
Hi, this is Carl. Welcome to another SMB Community Podcast. I'm joined today by Scott Sanders. How are you, sir?
I am great, Carl. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Very good. So Scott runs a community that's, I think, primarily based in Facebook. Is that correct?
We are. Well, that's where 90% of the action happens is on Facebook. So absolutely.
So tell us about the IT Business Owners Group.
So IT Business Owners Group is an online social media peer group. I started it with the idea about 5 years ago. We actually started on LinkedIn. One of the things about LinkedIn, though, that I quickly came to realize is it didn't move fast enough for me. So we would go in and post a question to the group, and you would be lucky to get a response maybe in the next day.
So it's not that it wasn't fast, it's that people don't hang out there all day.
Right. It's not, that's a great way to put it. People don't hang out there all day.
Yeah. So once they saw it, they responded, but
right.
They didn't necessarily see it.
it wasn't an instant. I tell everybody we live in a microwave society now. Everybody wants it now.
Right.
So that's a key factor in one of the reasons we moved over to Facebook. And when we moved to Facebook in early 2015, so we're 5 years old now. So early 2015, when we created the Facebook group, it just kind of took off from there. And we had that rapid fire approach, I like to call it, where when you type a question or a post to the community, you can see those dots rolling. And that's a really nice thing. So it means somebody's typing right there. So I love that aspect of it.
Very cool. And so you said it's a social media peer group. So talk to me about that. So you mean like peer coaching or?
Well, in a sense, but I'm not a business coach. I'm not an MSP coach. The only thing that I like to do is just bring everybody together in a common channel so we can all discuss, pain points that we're all facing as MSP business owners. I also own a very small, in relation to a lot of other members, MSP myself. So I know what these pain points are that all of my members are facing. So I don't claim to be the guy that's going to tell you, hey, I can teach you how to make, to take a $100,000 business and turn it into $1 million. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. So what I can tell you is that we'll work together on it. So I do like that aspect of it.
It's funny, from day one, when even before there were small business server groups, Harry Brailsford started all the SBS groups. Even before that, there were DOS groups and Novell groups. And there's something about the IT community that it's like we have to talk to each other, right? I mean, I remember in the 1980s at the University of Michigan, we started what are today called forums. You log on to the mainframe and talk to each other and share resources. And what are you doing about this? And what are you doing about that? And I think maybe it's just because I'm in this industry, but I think that we have a different mindset than most industries.
Well, we're more willing to help one another, which is great.
I mean, there's no shortage of groups. I look on Facebook, it was like, oh my God, like I see a new one pop up and I think, is there really a need for this? And then the next day they have 300 people. I'm like, okay, the answer is yes.
Well, and I think a lot of that, I do see a lot of groups pop up, and I try to join as many as I can. I try to support other groups out there because I know it's hard. One of the things we try to do is we try to vet all our members to fall into two categories. Either they are a vendor working in the channel, or they are an IT business owner like myself. In some way, shape, or fashion, they own an IT business. So it just kind of made sense to me along the way to create this. And we've kind of built our community on slow organic growth. We feel like that's the best. So a lot of those groups that, are, 10,000 in 6 months or something. I can't see how they're doing that for sustainability. Maybe the numbers will tell. I don't know, but I always try to support other groups because I understand how hard it is to create one. It truly is it's a work of art.
Right. Well, I've built a couple myself. It takes a long time to get active, engaged members. So speaking of which, so how many folks are in this group, and how do I find it on Facebook?
So you can just go to facebook.com/groups/ITBOG, or you can do a search for IT business owners group in Facebook, and it should bring it to you. Right now, well, we have two sides. We have a public facing Facebook page, our official community page that is public facing, and we really use that for promoting our sponsors, anything that they have, they want to they wish to promote to the community. We try to post it there. Now that's public facing, so you can find that at facebook.com/itbog.org. Have to put the .org on there. Now, if you want to find the groups, just do facebook.com/groups/ITBOG, or you can spell out IT Business Owners Group. Either way will work.
Very cool. And so what goes on in the group? I mean, just sort of spell it out for folks.
So yeah, let me add to your previous question. You had asked me how many members. Right now, we are sitting at 3,652 members. And the topic of conversation usually is anything and everything that revolves around owning an IT business, whether it's from, what do you charge your clients for an endpoint, and what's your security stack entail? Do you do this for your clients? Do you not do this for your clients? Have you had good luck with this vendor, this sponsor? We try to, if one of the hardest things is over time, you feel like you've asked as many questions as you can come up with. But one of the things that I like to do is figure out new questions. I'm always thinking of ways to engage the community. I feel like the engagement is what makes a good, strong community. When members want to come back because they say, I want to see what's going on in IT Bog today. What new questions, or can I learn something new from the community?
So how many of those members are like super active? Like you would say, oh, I know them. I know what kind of things they post. I know the last time they posted and what their questions are.
I would probably say, that's a good question, but I would say probably at least 100 are always on there daily.
Wow.
We average between 30 and 50 brand new posts every single day.
So you mentioned that you had two, so the .org and I guess the not.org. What's the difference between those?
Okay, so the Facebook group started 5 years ago, and then I realized I saw a lot of people having community Facebook pages, like your business has a page. And so I said, we don't have a page, and I was always looking for a way, because being a private community, a lot of things that go on in the community, posts and whatnot, are restricted to the community. But
so you have a group and a page?
We have a group and a page. So
okay.
An official page that's public.
Got it. Perfect. So there's no, is there a private membership? Like people pay you $100,000 and they get in to this secret club?
No, so we do have our own website. So we have a membership site as well, and that's simply you can get to that by going in Google or Edge or whatever your browser is and just typing in itbog.org. So that's our homepage, and it's a members only site as well. So you can sign up to be a registered member there as well. We have in there, you will find actually a member map. So if you wanted to find, let's just say I'm in South Carolina and I wanted to find a member in Missouri, I had a client that needed some work done in Missouri, and I'm looking for a good, reputable tech in Missouri to help me with my client. I could just go to the member map, type in the zip code, and it should bring in all the local members within a certain mile radius of that zip code.
Very cool. So, is everybody from the Facebook group also in the .org website, or just?
No, we have about a third of the members over there. So we
Oh,
are
that's not bad at
constantly
all.
growing. Yeah, we've got a little over 1,000 members that are actually registered and signed up for the website as well. That's a challenge. That's always a challenge.
So, in the era of the COVID, uh, you guys had been planning a live event. What's the status of that?
So I'm glad you asked. Yes, we were planning a cruise. We still are planning a cruise. I know the cruise is like a vile word to a lot of people, and unfortunately, we had planned this prior to the COVID. But I love cruises personally. I've been on several, and that's a great vacation to me. You just get away, and it's just wonderful. So I thought about when I had attended a couple of conferences. I saw you in Chicago, Carl. But one of the things I noticed about the conferences, it's great to see folks and to put a face to a name. But every IT conference I have been to in the past, I noticed one common denominator. They were all in hotels in the conference rooms, and they all seemed to kind of follow the same path. They all had the same structure, and I just wanted something different for IT business owners group. So one of the things I thought wouldn't it be great to host a conference on a cruise ship? And basically, we could get together, have a standard conference, say 8 to 12, 8 in the morning to 12, and that's about the time when you go on a cruise. That around lunchtime is when or mid morning lunch is when they actually port, and you can go off and do things wherever you're ported at. So I thought, well, you're going to be on a cruise ship, so you can get together, mingle with the sponsors, and have an event on a cruise ship that everybody can get together, have a good time, and we'll make it half business, half pleasure. So I think that you have to have 4 hours of conference time to be able to write it off as a business expense per day. So that's where we just came up with the 8 to 12 will be like a normal conference. The cruise lines are very accommodating to this. Have the they'll have the conference areas and everything set up. So all you have to do is just tell them what you need. They take care of everything. So
Plus,
we
all the food's included, right?
yeah, all the food's included. And it's just a lot of fun to put it together. And we pretty much had everything set, and COVID hit. So when COVID hit, it was definitely a game changer. We didn't know what was going to happen, so we kind of held it open, the old dates, and the old date was September 4th through the 7th. So we kind of waited on that, but then the cruise line actually canceled all cruises, so that our cruise got canceled. We had no choice on that. Then we just basically decided, we like this date because as an IT business owner myself, I know that it's hard to get away from the business. So if I can go away on a Monday and that Monday I don't have to work, the business is actually closed because it's a holiday. That makes it a lot less stressful on me. So that date just kind of worked in well. I talked to Jay McBain, and he gave me a site for events, so I could go in and look at. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't stepping on anybody else's event, and I didn't want to do it during someone else's event. So we that date kind of seemed to work well. So the new date is the same time next year. So it's September 3rd through the 6th of 2021, and we're basically just changing the dates and going to do the same event just a year later.
Nice. So September 3, 4, 5, 6, 2021. And where does it leave out of?
So we're leaving out of Miami, and it's going to be on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas boat. And I think we're going to Bahamas, and then we'll come back. So we're going to have 2 ports, and then we'll come back to Miami on that Monday. But that Monday is a holiday, so we all should have that day off. and that will allow members to get back to their homes safely.
Very cool. So September seems like a long ways away, but
It is. Plenty of time to make the cruise even better.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you've got a year and a half to get people signed up for it. Very cool. So I know it's super, super early, but I also know that you were planning to do it in a couple of months. So what's going to make that content stand out? Scuba diving, snorkeling?
So there are sponsored excursions that we can hold as well. So we'll have some sponsors that will take over, and they'll actually have it where you can have you can sponsor a whole excursion. If you want to go scuba diving, if you wanted to go jet skiing, the sponsors can do that with a certain amount of members.
Right,
They would need to obviously sign up for that.
right. And what's the 4 hours of class time?
Uh, we have not figured that much out yet. We kind of wanted to figure out how many sponsors were going to join us. And once we have the sponsors down pat, then we'll figure out. We already had a commitment from Datto. So that was nice. And MSP 360. So we assume that that's still going to take place next year.
Nice. So you will keep me on your mailing list so that
Absolutely.
in maybe July and August of next year, I'll do a blog post and
That sounds
remind
perfect.
people that there are still events going on.
Absolutely.
So very cool. So back to the IT blog. What are you guys doing during COVID? What's different or fun in that group?
So IT Bog being an online community is, basically it hasn't changed a whole lot. It has basically just picked up momentum and steam because, it is nice when the members can get together always. Everybody's kind of at home now a lot. I think a lot of businesses are still, a lot of IT business owners are still operating in the context that they were 3 months ago. So, with that being said, online communities such as IT Business Owners Group, um, a lot of online communities, period, are seeing a lot of growth, I think, because the community is pretty much online a lot more now.
And are you finding new members or people participating more than they did before because now they're home more?
Well, it would seem that way. The numbers are kind of about the same, though. So I do look at the analytics. Facebook is nice. They give us insights and analytics. They tell me, how many members are active out of, how many members we have, what's a good time, what's a busy time, what days are best. Like I can tell you, Wednesdays are the most busy days. We have the most activity on a Wednesday. The curve it kind of goes up. Like Monday's it's busy, but it's not as busy. Then Tuesday gets busier, and then Wednesday's pretty busy, and then it slows back down for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So would you say that you have one of the busiest groups for the IT community on Facebook?
I'm very humble, but I do track the numbers pretty well. And I can tell you that I'm pleased with the results for the amount of effort that it takes to put it on and to orchestrate a community like this. I'm very pleased with the numbers and how everything turns out at the end of the day.
So do you put a ton of labor into it?
A lot of labor. So we actually have several moderators that I have picked to help me orchestrate everything and to keep an eye on it because it's Facebook and you just can't keep an eye physically. One person can't do it 24/7. My wife helps me. She helps me in the MSP as well, so she understands the community and the industry. And she doesn't go in and post a lot of questions and things, but what she does is she'll help me if she sees something that I haven't seen yet and it's maybe questionable, it may offend members or something like that. We'll go and shoot the post out to our moderators and get a group decision from there. Should we remove the post or should we keep it? Is it going to offend people? So we try to do the right thing by our members. We try to, we don't want to censor anything that we don't have to, but if it's going to hurt someone's feelings or, we have certain community rules that we have to abide by. We don't want anything political. We stay
Right.
away from that. We're in IT, so we want
That's
to
a
talk
wise
about IT.
decision on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Somebody was saying maybe today or yesterday that if all you're doing is going on Facebook and talking about politics, that's why your business isn't growing.
That's right. Absolutely.
So in terms of the moderation, do you get a lot of spam? I mean, I get people who go and fill out forms on my website, and I just think, oh my God, like, what are you being paid? A penny a day to do this? Like, how can it possibly be worth your while to spam me in such a complicated way?
So we have been sponsored for a while now, and we have 29 sponsors. You can check out our sponsors at itbog.org/sponsor. And so if you go there, you can see a list of all of our current and active sponsors. But as a sponsor-driven community, we pretty much make it known that, if you want to promote your brand to the member base, then you would need to become an official sponsor. So that is that's one of the things that we've been shadowed by that for a while, and people kind of understand that. Now we do watch new members whenever we vet someone new, and it's kind of I wonder, are they going to go in and just automatically start blasting their company to the member base? So one of the things we do is we watch them right off the bat to make sure that that's not going to happen. So, and if it does, we just remove the post and we send them a nice email and let them know that, or a nice little note on a private message, just let them know, please send us an email to support@itbog.org and let's talk about what you want to do. So,
Right. So I'm assuming some people just wander in, look around, don't think about it, and start posting. But there's other people that it's like, oh yeah, here's something we can get for free.
yeah, absolutely. And that's the hard part. You want to help the community overall, and you want to be there, and you want to give good information. But it's not fair to the other sponsors who are sponsoring us, for just anybody to come in. That devalues the whole community.
Right. And do the sponsors participate much, or do they mostly just like put their logo up and they're done?
I am glad you asked that, because I really wish, I have some that it's kind of like a 50-50 split. We have some sponsors who I think are just happy to have their logo on the website. But then we have some sponsors that are active. And I really, when we started this, I see value in the sponsor being there, the vendors, as well as the IT business owners. That's really why I wanted to have both. Because when I started this, I said, we need a common channel for IT business owners to, one, talk to one another, but also talk to the vendors in the channel, because we are selling and using their product on a day-to-day basis. If they can get feedback from us, then that will help them create a better product, whether it's good feedback or bad feedback. Feedback is feedback, and it all helps at the end of the day. So I would love to have more sponsor interaction than we do. And maybe that's a good thing though. Maybe that's what keeps there's like a perfect blend right now. So the members don't feel spammed, because that's one thing. It's a fine line that you have to walk to keep your sponsors happy, and at the same time keep your members happy where they don't feel spammed, because nobody really wants to get spammed. I don't want my members getting spammed.
Right. Well, I always think that the best vendor interaction is basically a sales engineer who wants to answer all the problems and questions and give people tips and point them to this and that. And basically, they don't do any selling, at least intentionally. They just provide help. I think that's the best thing any vendor could do, personally, because what happens is too often they send a salesperson who doesn't know how to do anything except sell. I mean, nothing personal, but you know what I mean? They can educate you on the product in 100 different ways, but at the end of the day, every response they have is kind of salesy, where a sales engineer who just is interested in the community, and I have one specific person in mind I won't mention because I don't know if they're a sponsor or not. But, you know, this guy would like go to conferences. He would never go to his booth because he was hanging out with people talking about their business, and he was not selling, but he ended up selling because he actually engaged people. And that's kind of this magic combo that a lot of vendors haven't figured out. So
Yeah.
I think the bigger you get, the more likely you are to say, look, that's a sales function. And so I'm not going to send an engineer there.
Absolutely.
So anyway, it's a tough row to hoe. I'm just going to pause and ask you if you can hear the lawnmower outside the window.
A little bit.
All right.
It seems to have gone away now.
Well, they're going to go back and forth.
That's right.
So we shall see. All right. So I flagged that. If it's not too horrible, we'll push through.
Okay.
So, all right. Cool. So last topic. Where are you going? What are you going to do with this? Like, what does the rest of 2021 or 20 and 21 look like?
So I plan on just growing the community as best as I can, pretty much the same way that I've done it for the past 5 years. It's easy to keep up with the community. I just am doing the same thing that I've done. So as far as where do I see the community growing, hopefully we can have a great conference next year. Hopefully we can bring in more members, more people to the community, and continue our vast list of sponsors. Have some new sponsors as well.
Very cool. So in the weirdness of 2020, did you see that folks got super ridiculously busy in March and maybe April, and then it slowed down in May, or are they continuing to be busy in June and July?
So I polled the community about maybe it was June, maybe at the end of March and June, somewhere around there, or April. I'm sorry, end of April, start of June. I polled the community. I said, hey, we're on quarantine. We're all quarantined in our home. How has it impacted your business? Have you noticed a decrease or an increase? And what I noticed was there was a lot of decrease on the break fix side. So those IT business owners who ran break fix shops seemed to get a little slower, and so project work seemed slow. But those who had managed service provider businesses, so if you're an MSP, you seem to have actually grown. So it was kind of stark reality how many business owners actually grew their business during the quarantine, which was great. That's fantastic news.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a vindication of the business model, right? I mean, I can tell you, I have folders full of emails from people who said, managed services got me through the last recession. And I expect to have a whole nother folder of people who managed services got them through this recession. So
absolutely.
I mean, the beauty of recurring revenue is that it sets a base underneath your feet, and it may eventually slow down. I think it will. I think when we get to September, October, November, that we're going to see the waves of the recession sort of working their way into our business, but it will be mild compared to people who have no contract and do everything on a break fix model.
That's it. And it took me a long time to figure that out in my my little IT business. So we are actually a hybrid moving over to all managed services at the moment. So I'm glad I read your book and everything that you offer a lot of insight, Carl. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Happy to do it. Mm-hmm. So very cool. All right. So folks should go to the Facebook page, look for IT Bog, and then itbog.org, and just look around. If you could give one tip to all those folks out there who are looking for a community, what would it be?
Just join the community, join as many communities as you can, and pick the one that you feel the most at home with. It's got to be a good fit, both for you and the community. So I think that would be my best advice, is just join as many communities as you can and pick the one that you seem to fit in the most with and you can relate to the most.
Right. Very cool. All right. Scott Sanders, IT Business Owners Group, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Carl. It was my pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to the SMB Community Podcast. If you found this useful, interesting, or fun, please subscribe, share with your friends, and give us a thumbs up on your favorite social media. Please check out the show notes at smbcommunitypodcast.com and give us your feedback.